was 3.
That's what I heard. My Lincoln did not like me this morning because I was gone all weekend, so he started all his tears for me this morning. Then I
Very
gave him
good.
Cheetos and he was fine because he's 3. So
Because it's 3. There you go. There you
all right,
go.
have fun, guys.
All right, we'll do it.
Bye.
Okay, and we got a couple online. Brad and Mary, hello.
Hello.
Hello. I am Guy Calloway. I have been licensed with Keller Williams since 2015. I have not been anywhere else. Actually, just to give you the background, I've got the Callaway Gardner team in Ozark. So you don't see me around the market center a lot because I'm usually in Ozark is where I
You come here more than often than.
yeah, and more recently I've been in a little bit. I used to try to come to every Tuesday morning meeting just to make sure I was in here. Due to some other, I'm also the chair of the Ozark Chamber of Commerce, so I am there. We have a meeting on Tuesday morning, so I don't get it. And then, and the Gardner part of Callaway Gardner, he was one of the original investors of KW here in Springfield. He had been licensed 40 years, actually just recently decided not to renew that, so he's just in
Didn't
referral.
renew his
He
license?
did not renew his license.
Wow, no way.
Friend of mine.
Oh, has he? Okay, very good, very good. So we go back, it's funny, he recruited me for 5 years to get into real estate. And he knew my great grandparents and my grandparents, so.
Yeah.
You know, he's old enough. No, we have fun. Rick and I have fun.
He's still in pretty good shape. He's just
Yeah,
playing a lot.
You would not know that he was.
Traveling, playing.
Yeah, a lot of that.
I don't blame him.
No, I don't either. Gotta enjoy a little bit of life, so. And so I'm with that, big part of me as we talk, I like to share where business comes from, some different things, and you've had a bunch of different instructors and, hope you gather each business is a little bit different. About 80% of my business comes from past clients, sphere of influence and networking type. Getting in front of people is a big part of my world. That's something that I enjoy. And so something that I dive headstrong into. And then I am also I'm on the Ozark School Board and so like I said, I'm very involved in Ozark. If you need anything Ozark related, I'll find somebody that knows the answer because I'm probably not the guy, but I'll find somebody.
Do you still have kids in Ozark?
I do. I've got a freshman at Ozark.
Okay.
And we're in the heat of basketball season, which is our favorite time of the year in our house, so. From that, so who do I know Amy and Liliana, but I guess we'll still go around the room.
Hi.
And I'll have online do it, but I just wanted to know who you are, how long you've been in real estate and what you're hoping to learn. So you're on my right, so you're gonna get picked on all day.
Richard Beal, and I've renewed my license last January, I
Okay.
think. I had been in real estate from 96 to 2000 and then was recruited out of it to another type of business, retail grocery. So I'm back
Awesome,
and happy to be here.
very good, that's awesome.
Oh, let me say, I have to say this, I have 2 children, 8 grandkids, and 3 great-granddaughters with the 4th great-grandson on the way.
Awesome.
I'm hoping for that.
You're hoping for that one, all right, I like it.
That is a very hard act to follow. So I'm Jeff Doherty. I think we've met over the years.
Yeah.
I was friends with Rick for a long time. He tried to recruit me to Keller Williams. I actually went to Remax.
Okay,
So I've had my license since '09, been with Remax since '09, and then I transferred over here about 6 months ago.
okay,
So Jason Massengale is also a good friend of mine,
Yeah.
kind of a lifelong friend. And so he's responsible for recruiting me.
awesome,
Wife of 40 years, we'll celebrate our 40th anniversary this year in March. 3 kids, grown, we're empty nesters, got 4 grandkids that we chase around at dirt bike and 4-wheel events.
Awesome.
And so that's kind of who I am.
I like it. Very good.
Amy Hunsaker Williams. I've been in real estate just over 5 years. And when I first got into real estate, I was part of a team. And then that was shortly before we went into the market that we just came out of. And I feel like most of my business has just come to me through my large sphere of influence. But in 2024, I want to learn new ways to go out and get new business and to get in front of new people and grow my sphere.
Yes, I like it. I feel somewhat part of it. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And then,
I am Liliana Owen. I've been in business for 5 years. Last year, because of health issues, I did not work. So now I'm here for a refresher. Glad to be back. I will never change Keller Williams.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. And then how about my online, Brad or Mary? Tell me about yourself.
Go ahead, Mary. Tell us about you.
Hey guys, Mary Ritter here. I am still working on my 48-hour, but should have that finished this week. And hopefully we'll be ready to license by the end of the month. And really enjoying these Ignite classes. Before I started them, there was a huge wall of the unknown, and now I am really looking forward to getting in and building relationships and seeing what I can do with this.
Very good.
Cool. Yeah, so it's Brad. I'm I can't even talk. Liliana. Hi, Jeff. Hi.
Everybody.
Anyway, so yeah, I've been in real estate for whatever. It doesn't really matter. 2003. I'm writing an offer right now, so that's why I'm not in class. I do enjoy going back through the stuff because it kind of it just a refresher is good, so I enjoy that. And anyway, it's good to be here, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say today.
Awesome. Well, hopefully it's worthwhile. So welcome.
Hi.
We're just kind of introducing yourselves. I'm Guy Calloway and you are
I'm Destiny.
Destiny.
Uh-huh.
How long have you been in real estate?
In real estate?
Yeah.
Around 20 years.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Are you?
Hi, this is Melissa Gaither. I don't know if you can't see that I'm online, so I thought I would probably introduce myself too.
Yes.
I just got my license less than 6 months ago and just wanted to get going with that because I hadn't really done anything with it. So that's why I'm taking the class.
Awesome. Well, let's make it happen. Well, so we've got a variety of people with some different experiences here as we kind of shared. And anytime we step into a training class, we have 3 choices of who we want to be. And I believe this first person doesn't exist in here right now. So I'm pretty excited about that after hearing you guys talk, but that's a prisoner. There are people that feel they have to be sitting in a class and they're there because somebody else is making them. And from that side, the second one is a vacationer, and that's somebody that believes in sometimes being in a training class is better than the real world. So they're vacationing to get away from something else and they're sitting here. And the last is what I hope we all will be and fight to be, and this is in life in general, but that is to be an explorer. And that's really diving into what we're talking about, participating and growing your knowledge base. And based on what you guys shared, that's where everyone's starting today. So we'll try not to bring it down because I'm the one that can impact that the most. So today you guys have spent a lot of time, we're on the 3rd segment of Ignite. So whether you like me or don't like me, I'm here. I've taken this week to be here with you guys every day, Monday through Thursday. So as everyone else is done, but I'll be here the next 4 days. You guys have covered, becoming the real estate expert of choice with your value proposition. We've talked about generating, leads through prospecting and marketing. What's the difference in those two? Prospecting and marketing.
Prospecting is free, marketing might cost a little money. Prospecting we can do all the time.
Very good. All right, all right. And you were saying something too?
Prospecting is more short-term, immediate. Marketing would be more long-term.
You're building a brand with your marketing, with your prospecting is, you're looking for the right now leads.
Yes.
I think of marketing as like how you're speaking to the world, and prospecting is more you're prospecting to a person.
Person-focused, yeah.
Yes, yes. One way I like it is a hunter or a trapper, you know, in a way. So as a prospector, you're hunting, you're out searching for it. A trapper, you're letting them, you know, come to you. Sometimes he said retail grocery. I had spent some time in retail as well. And we used to talk about in retail, you're trapping, you know, that's what you're doing. And when they walk in, you're trapping them. Hey. On
Okay,
that.
well, then that goes back to what I said I wanted to learn. So I would say that I've been more about marketing, and then business comes to me, and now I need to be more of a prospector.
I like it. More hunting. I agree. I think we all can and have that opportunity. So we've spent that time in whether we're hunting or trapping leads, you know, because those can both be effective. We're gonna switch that focus over to lead follow-up. And this is really where we make or break the business. And generating a lead can sometimes it can take almost no time at all. We can just get out there. We could run into somebody who's like, oh, you're in real estate, and they start having a conversation, and we're generating that initial lead. But when we talk about follow-up, it could take up to 10 years if you're ready for that. So there's some of that. And this will, we're gonna kind of focus on turning your possible business, which is lead generation is possible business, into probable business. And we will do the daily success systems after each lesson, that'll help establish those core activities. Let's see if I can get this to catch up with me, because it was working a minute ago and it is not now. Okay, now we should be starting to roll. So the lead follow-up process is essential to converting leads to business from the moment you've captured a lead and put them into your database. But before we talk about that, let's hear about your progress with the success system this week. So what challenges did anyone encounter?
So I had 2 get-togethers, meetings,
Okay,
and I failed to give them a card.
you learned to give them a card every time.
Got caught up in cultivating connection,
Yeah.
relationship, but found it a little uneasy, awkward to get into the real estate side. Both of them know I'm in real estate,
Okay,
so they know I'm available, and I've given them cards before,
yeah,
but I didn't this time.
didn't this time. Gotcha. Did you guys talk about real estate?
I think with the one couple I did.
Okay, okay, very good. That's always a challenge, trying to get that conversation, you know, turned into that, which we can talk a little bit about, just some different ways to do that, so for sure. About anyone else? Challenges or successes? I guess I should, you know, we want to celebrate the good things too, so.
Well, I had an open house, my first open house this year.
Awesome.
It was done because the game, you know?
Did you turn the game on?
I did it with a lender, so we both were watching the game. And my computer was faster than him, so it was a lot of fun. But anyway, a couple came in at the end and it's a lead, we're not running him right now, so it wasn't a waste.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good.
Mhm.
I do, who all are Chiefs fans in here? I want to apologize to you guys. I really do. I feel I need to, and I'm working on a little reel to put together to apologize to all Chiefs fans. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan,
I did too.
and I cheered for them, and what happened in the playoffs? You guys know what happened to us.
Oh,
We
yeah.
lost, right?
Oh, yeah.
So then the next day, or not next day, I guess it's next weekend, but I mean, I kind of wanted to see the Dolphins win in the cold weather against the Chiefs, because I'm kind of obstinate. Well, they lost, right?
Right.
Right. And so then I started cheering for Green Bay, because they're kind of fun. And what happened to them? They lost.
Yeah.
So the only team I cheered for that won were the Lions. And then they lost yesterday.
Oh.
So as a Cowboys fan, I have a deep hatred for the 49ers.
Yeah.
So I will be cheering for the Chiefs.
good.
Is that good? What did I just say? Everyone I'm cheering for.
Every cheer. We'll take every cheer.
Okay.
I can't believe the Lions lost. That was
That was tough.
crazy.
That was too
That
bad.
was tough.
They won the first half.
They did.
Yeah,
They did. They did, and their coaches.
I just love what the sports does do to people, you know, my country's soccer, football, soccer.
Yeah.
But it just, you know, you fight, you know, but it's a good fight, you know, like my niece was at the game over there and she lives in, where were they yesterday? In
Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah.
yeah.
She's going to school there. So it was my whole family against her. It was fun. It just,
Yeah.
you know, it just brings family, friends connected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can. Absolutely. I love it.
It is.
You know.
Yeah, what you could do is like make it now and say, I made this 2 weeks ago, and then when we win.
Oh, no, I want
You
that.
learn
I
you're
want-
not a Chief.
I want the hate coming over the next 2
Learn
weeks.
you're not You'll learn that Dallas just couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to bring my curse of fame.
I know.
So, was it everyone able to meet with their accountability partner? What ahas? So was everyone able to?
I actually don't have one,
You don't have one?
either.
but I'm also kind
Okay.
of come and go.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah. I'm not even signed, I'm not even registered.
Yeah. I noticed you got, yeah.
She taught the first week, so
Yeah.
she's,
But I'm here.
what's it called when you take a course but don't get a grade?
Oh, yeah.
Audit, she's auditing.
I'm auditing.
I like it, I like it. So then I've got this question, since those that met with the accountability partner. What challenge did you have to overcome to make sure that happened? You know, what was in your schedule that could have prevented you from making it happen?
Just anything else.
Anything, and I didn't know if there's anything this week, like typically when we have something that's helping us grow, we always have something that could turn into an excuse, which an excuse, if you want a guyism, is a well thought out lie.
There's absolutely no challenges with.
No
between
challenge.
Me and Jeff meeting upstairs in a room.
Okay, very good.
We met after this class. and
Okay,
We kind of blocked that time out, knew we were going to for close to a week and put it in our schedule and just guarded around it.
that helps you do it.
Well, that's the right
key.
way. That's our issue is Danielle and I are winging it and just doing it when we remember.
Yep. Okay, there's
And
what,
so-
that's what, when I was preparing, this was just something I'm like, we all have those things
Yeah.
that happen.
And
And if
then-
we don't get it locked in our schedule.
Yeah. And she'll call and just like, you're not answering the phone. You must be busy. I'm gonna tell you what's going on and you call me back. And so, I mean, we do talk, but it's because we're winging it and we have a plan. She's supposed to call me on Tuesday and I'm supposed to call her on Thursday, but we did not make the plan of what time to call each
Oh.
other. So I thought we were doing good, but just until this conversation, I was like, nope, we did not. It was a wish.
Yeah,
We hope we call each other.
yeah.
So
that happens.
I'll update our contract, so
Okay.
with each other.
All right, I like it. I like it. Very good. Sorry, that was in, so part of me so you guys also know why I picked this class to teach. They asked me, had some options to fill in. This is, it's not because I'm great at all of this, and it's not because I picked follow-up because it's an opportunity for me in my business. There are things I do and there are some things that, I'm good at, but it was also because it's a place I can dive in deeper into my own personal business. I have, right after agreeing to do this, I found out I lost a lead because of my follow-up system. So, it was a referral and we were set to follow up the first of the year, and I followed up and they had moved on with another agent. So hopefully it's one of you guys.
Hopefully it's not one of us. Hopefully it is one of us.
No, he said
If it's not
Hope it
you.
is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
hope
like,
it
if
is.
it's not you, hopefully it's us.
Yeah, that's fine. That's, it is, and it happens, and I look at it often with people, past clients that have sold their property with somebody else, and different times I look at it and kind of know where, what opportunities I had, so. There's plenty of business out there for all of us. So by the end of today, we're gonna be able to, describe the benefits of establishing a lead follow-up system, apply the 19 to Connect touch campaign with leads, and explain the importance of cementing the relationship with the leads. As we start to think about what you'll learn today, let's consider what questions you might have and what about lead follow-up would you like to know more about? You can look back and think about what you've learned, especially in the lead generations segment. So we will, what we're gonna do here is I want you guys we're kind of a small class. I may not break us up into partners to do this. You guys want to do it as a group as opposed to trying to break up. Okay, that's just my opinion. We may do that differently. So what would you like to learn more about in terms of
follow-up.
In terms of follow-up?
The most effective way to do lead follow-up.
Effective, okay. That's the last.
Most efficient and effective way to do it.
Yeah, I think, I've learned a lot about command and I'm using a lot of the features. So I would like to learn. You obviously have been doing it a lot longer than I have, a lot longer than 6 months.
Right.
And doing it at a high level. So I would like to know from experience what has worked the best, what you use that's the most effective. And just the tools that are available in command
Okay,
to facilitate that.
okay. I like it.
I'm just gonna say the same, but then also specifically, I know that you're having success with your newsletter. And I'd like to kind of hear a little bit more about that. Some of the things that you're including
Okay.
that you feel like might be different from what other people are including, or if it's just like, no, I'm just sending out some basic stuff. And then, how effective you think it is.
Okay. Okay.
And then I say same, because and then what else are you doing that you feel like is being really effective?
Right, okay. Very good. That newsletter does get me a lot of people asking about it. And I do have a cheat code for it.
Well, and part of what I wonder about is because it's going out to agents also.
Right, which I've tried to stop that, but then it's always been happening. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but yeah. Anyways.
That's either.
They're gonna R&D it.
They are. But that's where the cheat code comes in, that everyone can R&D. So anything else? Because I don't create it.
Okay, and then that's also what we want to know about. We want to know
Does
everything.
AI do it?
Nope.
AI does mine.
How would lead follow-up relate to farming and
I'm kind of
everything?
proud of it too.
So lead follow-up and farming, I think that's so lead farming is a lead generation source. Follow-up is gonna be how you take those leads, those people, and make them clients. So they're, to properly farm and do well, in some ways, farming is planting the seed.
Right?
I've got family that's farmers, they're out there planting and doing it all. But if you don't come back and harvest it, then you planted the seed for nothing.
Or for somebody else.
Or for somebody else, yeah,
Mhm.
that happens too. That happens too, so, I wanna address the newsletter thing now because it's. A lot of them we'll try to answer, but just in case I don't, some of these we'll talk more about. Actually, Onward Agent Services is who creates my newsletter. Now, why is it effective? It is personalized to me and things that I do, things that are important to me, and they wrap it around the Ozark theme for me, which I think is what captures it, because it feels very personalized, because it's about who I am. And that's a big thing that I think no matter what you do, and this is, I met with agents this was real recently, somebody that left to go into more of a business development role. And I shared with them, they asked me like, what steps should I take? And I was like, you have to find what you really enjoy and build your business around that. There are a whole lot of ways that we can get involved. We are a sports family. I go to, and we talked about it, my son plays basketball for Ozark. So I go to a lot of Ozark sporting events. And have gone to like the Ozark football game for years, and when our kids didn't, were younger. My wife and I have learned a lot of times we need to take two vehicles. And she knows we get a campsite where she sits down and starts to enjoy it. But I'm going to be making and sitting probably with 4 or 5 different people throughout the game. And then I'm not gonna leave till the game's over either, even if we're winning big, losing big, rarely am I leaving unless the weather's terrible. But that's personally because that's something I thoroughly enjoy, and those people are people I enjoy, so I can do that. And I'm not working, I'm building relationship, because it's not often, I'm not just talking about real estate at those things, I'm talking about sports.
Do you, when you go to those events, do you wear anything with your logo, anything about real estate?
Usually,
You just wear whatever you got on?
just whatever I got on. Usually, sometimes I will, sometimes, I do. I'm sure I wear a lot of pullovers like this, and I do have several that have our logo on it that I wear. So sometimes I do, depends on kind of what's happening from that, so. But being intentional about that could help for sure, so. But it's not something I've done. No.
In regard to your newsletter, and you say you make sure it's personalized to you, so Onward's doing ours as well.
Okay.
I don't know that I feel like it's super personalized to us.
Yeah.
If we're having an event or we're doing some kind of a drive, or we've just had an event, we've got some photos, we might share some of that stuff. But other than that, I feel like it's pretty generic. It's probably very similar to what they're sending out for other agents.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that it's more personalized to you?
I think it's just been my idea. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I've
Do
not
you
seen
send them ideas about what you want them to put into it?
a lot of times from some of their choices, and then I do give ideas. I've tried some different things. Like I tried a giveaway, thing. I've done, just some things of that nature, but, and I will always go grab. So, so in February is the, the Ozark Chamber of Commerce Awards Banquet. So I will have that in there. That's not my event,
Right.
but I'll make it personalized as personalized as something I might attend, you know, instead of just being worried about what events that I'm personally doing.
Okay.
Cause I don't do a whole lot. That's not something I've done a whole lot of events like that, but I get some of that information. There's, in December, it was having them make sure that the blue and gold was advertised about the basketball things. But again, that's me. I was there almost every day. So that type of thing is, I think, what pulls some of the personal, you know, personalization out, and maybe where people see that it's me, realize that I've got to be the one.
I think that's one of the places where we're failing right now. Our team is in that newsletter because, I mean, we've had months that it didn't even go out because we didn't make time to respond to Audemars to tell them what we wanted. And so setting aside the time to put a little more, I mean, at least put 30-minute focus into it every month.
So here's what's bad, and maybe this is the other thing. Maybe it's because it's consistent. I've never missed a month. But if I don't have time, I just put my name down and I may give basics. And that may be the biggest key too. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't fill every,
Yeah, it just
I
has
don't
to, better to be
fill,
consistent than to be perfect.
I don't fill every block out. I just
Make it happen.
get it out,
Yeah.
you know, so,
You do it monthly?
yes. Yeah,
So.
Is that the recommended?
I think, I mean, I think that's,
Some do it quarterly.
I think
I think at
I'll
least.
do it,
the-
change the seasons. You know, like now for springs, I say a Valentine one, you know,
yeah,
so.
yeah. And it depends on your other touches that you have going, you know, the
Yeah.
other things that you've got going on as well. I think that all matters. So, it is interesting because I do get a lot of comments on it, and then I get, you know, and I do get some feedback. I've had clients reach out, you know, what they're looking for. I have people, you know, say stuff to me. So I know people are reading it, and my open rate's really, you know, is pretty good with it. So.
So you mentioned a giveaway. How'd you do that?
Well, it actually didn't work. That's why I say I tried it. I tried to give I was gonna do just, I can't remember what I asked for, but you know, the one I was doing was your favorite lunch spot, and I was giving away a gift card. And the only person that entered it was Tori. So I mailed her a gift card.
So I don't know if this is the reason you did that or not, but I know that Keller Williams for a while, they would put some kind of a little giveaway at the bottom. So they would say, and this is when the newsletter they send out to us, the agents.
Oh, yeah.
And Nicole was like, I want to see how many people are really reading this thing. So she, at the very bottom, said, if you've read this whole thing and you see this, come to me and I'm going to give you a $5 gift card to Starbucks. She said nobody came to her.
Funny.
And so I got to thinking, like, that's kind of a reason to do those things, is let's see how many people are, we know we can see the rate of opening, but how many of them are reading it
Yeah,
to the point where they would see something like that.
right.
Yeah, how is that different than doing a giveaway at an open house or doing a giveaway
Well,
in other arenas?
that I don't know. I don't know that I should have done it, if that's what you mean.
Is that a Keller Williams policy?
No, it's a
or
Missouri.
It's a
is
Missouri
it-
law.
MREC.
So we.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
You take
cannot
the,
entice.
this
Yeah,
week.
no, yeah.
So that's where I say, like, if you don't know, ask the broker or ask like Mike Brown, because it's
Mhm.
not so much that we can't give things away.
Yeah.
We can give things away and we can have contests, but we can't make it seem like the only way you can get this
Mm.
is by engaging in real estate with me.
Oh, no,
You know
no,
what I mean?
yeah,
So really, there's
But
a
a
lot of
raffle
things,
doesn't do
there's a lot of
that.
things we should be
Yeah.
able to do,
yeah.
but I would have someone else
Yeah.
review it
Yeah.
before
Pass the
doing
buck
it.
to somebody else.
And the other,
Because
one
they
way
might-
that,
They might see something from objectively
Yeah,
that we're
yeah.
not seeing when we're
Yeah,
making it,
yeah.
and then
Yeah,
and
help
I've
us
heard,
not get in trouble.
one way some get around it is getting like a lender or somebody else to sponsor it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
yeah.
And then it becomes, you're not giving it away. You know, there's some other,
They can do it. I spoke
Yeah.
with him yesterday.
Yeah.
They can do it for you.
yeah. So there are some ways to do that. So,
Yeah,
okay.
because it gives you contact information.
Yeah. And that's where, so mine was a link. It said, hey, register to get a gift certificate. I think it was like register to get a gift certificate to my favorite lunch spot, which was Brick Street on the square in Ozark. I could walk to it from my office since it's closed. But that's what it was. And then what I was trying to do, because all these people, I have their email address, they're in my database. I've had, and I tried to make a change in mine. Like there are a couple of things I tried to exclude agent email addresses, but it's kind of hard when they're not all the same. But and then I was doing more of it to just our sphere of influence really, instead of just to every lead we have in our database, because we have 3,000 people in our database. Some of that's junk, you know what I mean? So, but try to make it really intentional to people that know, like, and trust us, because that's where I want to further my business. I want to follow up more with them to generate more referrals. I have a deep enough database. I should be generating more referrals out of that database.
So that leads me to a question about follow-up. With you having as big a database as you've got, hard to, unless you're using an automated system, hard to make the number of touches that need to be made, the bigger your database is.
Yes.
So what's your strategy for that? Do you use the automated systems or?
So a big chunk of that are what I call leads that are never not met. If you read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, they're not Mets. So they're not ones that are getting as much attention as our Mets, but that's part of just it may not be the perfect way to do it, but the
You're
way.
prioritizing them that
Prioritizing,
way.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I do.
Yeah, and then we've got them broken up into, what type of sphere. There's we've got some of our top sphere, we've got sphere from X, that we may try to do. And then when I look back, we've had some different systems too, which makes some of that. Rick was one of the first ones to have top producers, so we had a bunch of stuff imported from top producer as well, so.
Okay.
So when we've kind of talked about it, what is a lead to you? Who can define a lead?
Somebody I can sell a house to.
Okay.
I think there's different levels or categories of leads. I think we've talked about in this class that a lead is anybody that gives you their contact information.
Right.
Yes, although that's the way I've been required to teach it. It's not necessarily how I look at it. I'm just being honest, because now I'm on the other side of the table. So for me, I agree. A lead to me is anybody who has indicated to me or been referred to me as someone who's looking to transact in real estate sometime over the course of the next year. And then I will break them down by when in that year.
That's kind of what
I don't necessarily look at everyone as a lead, but I look at everyone as a relationship I can nurture so that I'm top of mind when they become a lead.
Right.
This defines it as a person who has shown interest in real estate.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of falls a little closer
Yeah.
to where you were coming from. And I agree with you. I had one of the coolest conversations I ever had in real estate was my very first ever client, and I never sold him a property. He was down here from Nebraska. Him and his wife, they were looking to relocate because retirement expenses are lower here. And we went through the buyer's agency. They signed the buyer's agency. We went out and looked at houses, and this is when we always put them in our car. As we are driving around, he starts sharing with me, he had been in high school education for a big chunk of his career. And then he retired from a school, kind of like dean of education of something, kind of like OTC is what it sounded like to me. But the 2 years in between that, he sold typewriters. And he said, you know what the most interesting thing about real estate is? And he goes, you don't have to create a problem for someone to want to buy or sell a house. They either want to buy or sell a house, or they don't want to buy or sell a house. You don't have to convince them. And he goes, when I was selling typewriters, I had to be like, you know, this thing's pretty cool that you've got here, but what if it was printing while you were typing it? I have to create a problem
Yeah.
why the typewriter is better than your MacBook, which we all know would be ridiculous today, but still, you know what I mean? Like, but if you think about anything else you go buy, almost, it is, you know, they try to create a problem. The marketing is out there to create a problem for you to want that. You know, whether it's a new cell phone, a new car, they've got them now that drive themselves, you know, you need, you know, whatever it is. But real estate is not that way. You either want to or you don't want to. And so I really took that to heart, and that's been a core value of my business, that I don't try and convince somebody they have to buy or sell. That's not, you know, and I miss our old buyer's agency agreements and listing agreements that actually told them how to fire me. I tell everyone how they can fire me. Because if they don't want to use me, I don't want to work with them.
Right.
I mean, I'll get pretty pissy if they did, but I don't want to, you know, so.
I was in network marketing I still am technically, I don't sell anything, but you know, that was the difference. When I got into real estate, it was such a relief to not have to. That's the difference between being a salesperson and being a consultant.
Yeah.
And I think we get such a bad rap as being salespeople when there's nothing that we do that is selling, really.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they've come to us to consult them on how to go through a process that they want to go through anyway. Whereas when I was in network marketing, I was like, don't you want the skincare? Feel my face, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look tired. I think I have something for that.
Are you tired of looking tired?
Oh, yes.
Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? Let me, you know.
And yet
It
when
wasn't
we market, you know, when we do some marketing, some things, social media posts, you know, whatever, I did one, I'm trying to get into reels, I guess. I don't know. I just try to be ridiculous, but after sitting in a Board of Aldermen meeting where people were complaining about an apartments being built behind their house or whatever, I made a reel that said, hey, are you sick and tired of your city telling you what you can do with your land? Are you tired of the school district not doing what you expect them? Are your roads bad? Did you know I'm licensed to help? I can help you move. You deserve to live somewhere where you want to be.
That's great.
How many responses did you?
None. It was ridiculous. It was like, I
They
probably.
probably were like, oh my God, he's telling us to shut up.
So yesterday while I was watching the game,
That's
there's
great.
that lawyer who's a surgeon and a
Yeah.
doctor and a plumber and all that.
And a plumber.
All his
Bradshaw.
advertisements are so negative.
Oh,
Yesterday
yeah.
we called the game, he says, well, I make less money
Than the
the
other guy.
lawyer number one because I charge less. I'm like, who wants to hire you then?
Right.
You know? So I think you need to also always be positive,
I
you
agree.
know?
Oh, yeah. I agree with
You
you.
know, not put the other agents down, you know, just tell them what you are good, you know? And
One of the rules that I have for our social media is we never do anything that makes fun of the client. So, you know, there's all these reels out there that you could copy, and a lot of them are kind of making fun of things that clients do.
Said or done, yeah.
And we know that those may be true, and that may be funny if I said that to Cass, but it's not funny if I say that out to the world, like making fun of the people that I want to do
Yeah.
business with.
Well, I shared one in the internal KW page that said, let your kids believe in Santa Claus, because many of you still believe when rates go down, prices will go down or something
Yeah.
like that. And what's funny, even some real estate agents kind of were like, they're like, you know, their comments, they're like, they didn't get that I was making a, like, in my opinion. But I was like, I would never share that public facing, like that was. the
Oh, but
only
they're
place I felt-
shared, I'm
Oh, I
telling
know
you,
they
oh my
are, and I
gosh.
just, and it's just not, but it's not who I am, you know, in a way, so I get that completely. Which goes into, so the goal of lead follow-up is to enter a two-way conversation. So that's really what we want to do when we get into lead follow-up, and that, you know, what I call starting to build a relationship. Because when we've got leads that are sitting out there, if we don't get into a conversation with them, then we are not, we're never gonna get anywhere else. You know, they're never going to end up transacting with me or think of me when it comes to real estate. Now, does that only apply to leads?
No, I don't think so. Because cultivating your relationships will move them down the, I guess, line to being a lead,
Yep.
to being someone that's gonna buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the next 12 months. And you'll not know that if you don't have a relationship with them.
Right, right.
So cultivating, I think, does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, I think it does. I mean, I think it's all,
Relevant?
all relevant, because I think every contact in your database deserves or requires some level of follow-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that when they have a real estate need, that they think of you. And so this is, I brought up Rick earlier, part of it, because I knew I'd say some things, and, you know, one of his greatest wisdoms that he shared when I first got into real estate was that your success in real estate is determined by how many people, when they think of real estate, think of me or think of you.
That's good.
And, you know, ultimately, that's what it is all about. And how many of those will reach out? Because there are a lot of people that think of me as a real estate agent and know me as a real estate agent. But if I've not had a two-way conversation with them, I could be seen as someone they don't want to reach out to. Or that who knows what all those reasons are. And there are times that I personally have sat there and been like, oh, wow, I sat next to them through a season of 7-on-7 football. And we talked a lot, and then they listed their house with somebody else. Wow. What did I do? I mean, you know what I mean?
You made a
Like,
friend.
Yeah. Now they may have been friends with that person prior to the person they listed with. That's a real story from last year, so
Right.
they were from, anyways, that's just a matter of, you don't start to have that real estate conversation, you know, and break down that barrier, you may miss that opportunity. Who knows, you know, hindsight 2020, what if I had spent more time talking about real estate? Or talk to them about their real estate needs, so. And it may not have mattered in that case, but it's just one of those that we will never know. Do you think people in your database are only in your real estate database, or do you think they're in somebody else's?
I have several.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know several.
Yeah.
And Brian Fisher told me if I don't call him, he will. So
Oh.
I always think that every time I don't want to call someone, I'm like, Brian Fisher will call them. That's my motivation.
That's good.
I wrote down a question when I was going through the notes, and I never did I know the statistic is out there, how many real estate agents people know on average?
It's like 7, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I think
I-
I've heard
I
7.
feel like I've heard 7, but that is a misleading statistic. So I'll share one, the difference is, I think these are rounded off numbers. I think Missouri has 25,000 real estate agents. Florida had like 225,000 real estate agents. Just to kind of give you, and part of that's because my wife would love to move to Florida.
Right, oh,
and
yeah.
I have this much desire to restart a real estate career. Exactly this much. It may be negative. If we moved, I would get into something else. I would not try to become a real estate agent in Florida, I don't believe. So I don't have any desire to do that.
How many currently just in GSBOR?
3,000. It's
That was the last number I heard, but I thought it went
2,999 is what they
down.
said the other day.
Oh, okay. Okay. So just in the Springfield greater area.
In the GSBOR, yeah.
SBR is 3,000. So I've got a friend that's a agent. It's hard for me not to say this. She was my dad's ex-girlfriend before my dad met my mom. But she's been a licensed agent in Tampa, and this was in 2018. I think they had like 0.5 listings per agent in the Tampa area.
Wow.
So that's kind of where we are today.
So that's what we've got.
Because we're like at 1,500, and so that's funny to think, because the market's vastly different than it was then. At that point,
Right.
would have been different. So that was interesting.
That's an interesting number.
But then to help the newbies not to get intimidated, 20% of those do 80% of the business.
Yes.
So it's easy to be in that 20% if you show up.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's where part of the fund, and I shared it a little tongue in cheek in that fund too, but the top 300 agents that went out last week or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's top 300 agents. That's great. But if you think about what a top 300 agent is, that's the top 10%. If there's 3,000, that's the top
Yeah.
10%.
10%.
But only 20% are transacting,
Yeah.
So
I put that I didn't get it, but that's okay, because I know all of them. So I still used it as my promotion.
I love it.
Because probably most of you have agent friends and they posted this big, beautiful stamp for the top 300. Did I get it? No. But I know all of them and they want me to succeed too. And here we go.
Yeah, I think I was number 298. So.
Amy was in it.
I was in it. I was number 209.
Oh,
I did look it up.
Oh, see, I don't even know where you look it up. so.
I'm very competitive with myself. I'm really not competitive against anyone else, but I needed to know for myself which number was I.
Which is like what, 400 or 500 up from last year?
No, I was in the 300.
Oh, in the 300 last year?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was 268 last year.
Oh,
I'm up
you are up then. Okay.
now to hold on to it.
And then now this is a NAR statistic that was probably in September that I heard it, so I've not seen it changed. So as we talk about lead follow-up and the importance of it and the awesome as a new agent, the thing that is continues to be great, and why getting in now and getting things going as transactions were down last year. It was 30 or 35% of transactions went to agents that did less than 5 transactions annually. So that was to me, that was powerful, and it was I felt it last year, and the deals that I lost were to agents that were newer in real estate. Newer for me since I got in. So not that means they're all brand new agents, but that was the key as we get into follow-up is each one of those agents had one of these two-way conversations with them because several of, I had a couple that I lost last year, several of them, I had real estate conversations with them as well. Now, so what caused that, they did it better than I did, so there are those opportunities. And then, so our thing is, if we know where our clients are in multiple real estate agents, how do we make sure that when they think of real estate, they think of me first and not somebody else? And that's what we're all here to try and figure out and make it, again, it's about making it personal. I'm terrible. I can't stand still. I know you probably have had a whole lot of trainers that just sat there, so I can't do it. I may make you dizzy, but that's okay.
It's good for you.
It is. And I like to have energy, and that's why I don't know if the room's been set up like this either, but this was, I asked them to leave it there, so. So the life of a lead is, the likelihood of a move. So and you guys all sit there, I set this here. So no matter where somebody is, this is where they're moving every 7 to 10 years, unless you're me and it's every 2. Okay. But, so sometimes we're getting a lead, somebody that's interested in real estate, and we don't know where they are on this pattern. When it comes to that. So if I were to give you, if I said, hey, I've got a lead for you, and everyone's like, oh, I'll take a lead, and it's right here, you're gonna probably call that a bad lead. What if this is somebody that wants to talk about real estate, but they may not move for 7 to 10 years if they just closed on it, right? That's a conversation that we have, and we're like, that's a bad lead. Well, then we just bought our first flip. Our first flip we're not living in. We flipped houses into, but we're working on one right now. We closed on it Friday. And yesterday afternoon, we are working on the house, and my daughter comes over and brings her boyfriend. And they've known each other for a long time. I think they dated in high school. And anyway, so he bought a house in September. So he's right here. But his goal, my daughter's like, man, it's a shame you didn't buy this house, a little bit later, because his goal is to buy a house next year, because based on his loan, I'm assuming FHA, you gotta live there a year. He wants to turn it into a rental. Well, he has to be primary residence, I think the first year. I'm not sure exactly. We didn't talk details, but he wants to buy, so in September, he would like to buy another house if he can and do that every year. So then all of a sudden, even though it's just right here that I'm meeting him over the next 7 years, that could be 7 houses, right? If he continues. And his goal, I think, is to get to 3 or 4, but that's an opportunity. You have to know, sometimes we can think, oh, somebody just sold a house, well, or just bought a house. I'm not going to talk to you for a while, because you never know what's going to happen. But life happens, and staying in contact with them in 2022. So everyone moved in 20 and 21, right? And then in 22, I got, three past clients called me that had bought in that time frame. They were all getting divorced, so it was a whole new transaction on that. So if I had, I guess I said it backwards, but so regardless of what the lead is, and that's where if I handed a lead right here, this is what we're all of a sudden going to call a good lead, because they're within, maybe within the month we're under contract. That's what we all want, our phone to ring, somebody's ready to buy, they're already pre-approved. And if I gave you one of those, you're going to call that a great lead and be excited and want me to give you more leads like that. But it doesn't matter where you get them on this. a conversation I have with my lender is, you know, if we get somebody that doesn't get pre-approved and maybe they're gonna be, you know, 12 to 18 months, well, I'm gonna need to sell a house here too. It's not like I just have to sell them this month. I mean, I want to sell them all this month, but there are always those opportunities. So finding a way to follow up with your leads frequently, intensely, the speed to lead. I know used to it was online leads when I first started. So when I first started my career, you mentioned Jason, that's who when I got in, Rick joined with Jason. And so I ended up being their lead buyer's agent. And so I was, that's what I got my start in until 2018. And I realized that structure on the team wasn't what my long-term goals were, because it became more like a business than a practice. And I do operate more of a practice than my team's got a different structure than a lot of others. And that's okay to me. There are
Is there
others.
something you want to share? The difference between a
Yeah, what's
business and
the,
a practice?
what do you consider the difference?
So that may be more, that's talked negatively, I think. And so that's why I share that. A lot of people want to build a real estate business that can be sold, that, there's that mindset to build a business that, can leave a legacy and pass on. And if you think about it from I like to think about it in the medical world, so Mercy is that. Mercy's gonna be there no matter who the doctor is, okay? You think of your small town doctor that has a practice, that may just be a private clinic or a chiropractor, that may be the best example in today's world, because that's more of a practice, because when they go, the business probably goes. There are some ways to hand some of it off, but it's not the same structure. So that's how I had heard it for years, that you want to have you need to run a business that, that can be sold or whatever, and not a practice. And I'm like, well, I kind of like operating as a practice, like that's kind of my sweet spot. It's a profitable space to be in for me. As you grow a big business, there's, there are other factors. You've got to decide what makes the most difference. Long-term, a big business is gonna do better, but that's just been my sweet spot right now. I don't know if that makes it worse, better.
No, you're just saying that different people have different visions for the business.
Yeah,
When I think of, like, a business, if you think of like Grady and Holt, people will start to recognize that name, and they may want to do business with that. They may go to that business because it's of the service they provide, but they're gonna come to me because it's me.
yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think of a business, it feels more like an organization,
Yeah,
and a practice is more like you go to your doctor because of your doctor, like
Right.
you like your
Yeah.
doctor.
Yeah.
right.
You like how they treat you, you like how they talk to you, you like how they're engaged with you,
Yeah,
they
they're
care.
gonna sit there. I mean, and I lean on the doctor side, because that's my family's got a background in medical. And my grandma's sister's husband was a doctor as well, and at his funeral, one of the coolest things I ever heard, his daughter came in the back door of the practice, and she cried and wouldn't go see him because of his white coat. And he took his white coat off. He said, if my own daughter is scared of me in my white coat, what do my patients think of me? And he never wore his white coat from that point forward,
Oh,
which I thought was kind of
yeah.
cool. But it's the person, real estate is a relationship business.
Mhm.
And, sometimes it is a relationship with a brand. It can be all different levels, but I focus more on our relationship with agents. Our team is a little different, that it is not you're a buyer's agent, you're a listing agent or any of that. We've got where we do we do all facets of it, so.
Each team member.
Each team member, yeah, can do whatever they're comfortable with, so. And we're a small, so our team is also small. It was primarily Rick and I, obviously he's not, doing as much practicing, he's in the referral generating business. But the, and then we've got Ronnie, who is licensed, but he's also does our admin, and then we got 2 agents that are called, say, part-time agents, so on that, so. Sadly, just make sure I cover my notes. So I mentioned this earlier, so as we start talking about lead generation and lead follow-up, leads are anyone we run into, anyone out there, that's all possible business. Everybody that walks in the door at an open house is possible business. And our follow-up system is one that leads to probable business. And I'll talk about possible business because this part of it is about creating a system that will help you ensure that you're going to get the business. Because I can share stories of possible business. You know, I did my first year in real estate, I did an open house, couple comes in and they've been working with the real estate agent. They asked me some questions about the neighborhood. Their agent didn't want to show them houses or something in that neighborhood. I don't really understand what it was, but they just asked me some questions. And I shared with them what I knew and kind of went about it. They took a card or I gave them a card, but they had a real estate agent. I didn't have their information. I was not going to follow up with them because they are working with a real estate agent, and that's, you know, someone that was out there actively showing them, and that's just one of those things that I mean, obviously if they've got a signed agreement, I can't follow up with them. So, and that's where I kind of assumed it was. A month later-ish, this possible business rang my phone at 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. And they're like, you answered more questions, asked us more questions in that 10 minutes we were at that open house than our agent that we've been working with, so we've hired her. So, but can I recreate that? That turned into business, that's a win, right? That's cool. That's something I've always loved. That's a story I loved, and I still see them today, you know, talk to them. They've called me about selling before, but they've still not sold that house. But can I just assume that if I just talk to people at open houses and give them my cards, that it's gonna turn into business? Is there a way to create a business plan off of that? Not really, you know, I mean, maybe if I kind of do it like direct mail and, you know, give my card to thousands of people, I can predict that 1% will turn that way. So I had not created that. The other thing, we talked about speed. This possible business that's out there, the NAR statistics, National Association of Realtor Statistics, 73% of buyers only talk to one real estate agent. So they may know a bunch of real estate agents, but they really only talk to one. And 82% of sellers only talk to one agent.
Wow, that's
Well, let me rephrase that, only contacted one agent. So that's when you leave that time and you don't get back to them right away, you leave some follow-up and don't get it done, you're potentially going to lose that business. And since the data shows that most buyers and sellers only talk to one agent before deciding to do business with them, what will you do to ensure that you're the one agent in front of your clients, or in front of your database, sorry?
What's the question?
What will you do to ensure you're that one agent for everyone in your database?
Like you did with that couple, you saw them you came from contribution, you answer all the questions they had and, you know, I think as long as you know that you are talking to them and thinking about them and giving contributing to their questions and everything, you'll have a client.
And I can do that face to face. What if I'm not face to face? What
You
if it's
can do
what if
it
the lead?
anything,
Okay.
text, email, face to face, anything.
But the only way to do it is to reach out. We have to continue,
Right,
to be consistent
right.
in reaching out to find out what their needs are.
Like on my newsletter, I usually send tips, you know, to how to, for the next season, now spring is coming, you know, how to keep your gutters clean, you know, or new products. For Valentine's, I'm sending that list of my favorite restaurants that they can use to take their Valentine, you know, just always coming from contribution.
So I called it the circle of trust. We got to build trust with them
Mhm.
is the biggest, you know, for me, that's once they trust me, then I'm their trusted person. I love this quote. And so the concept of taking up space in people's minds by staying in close emotional proximity to them is mind share. And so we're all real estate agents involved in the real estate world. So how many insurance agents do you know?
Several.
Several? Which one are you gonna call?
The
If
one
you,
I'm using now.
the one you're using now, okay? What would cause you to use somebody different?
Usually price.
Okay, which we don't worry about as much in real estate. That's an interesting conversation I had with an attorney recently.
Yeah.
We were talking about the whole number of transactions, you know, we were talking about with people doing less than 5 transactions. He goes, yeah, that's a different mindset because I can charge I charge my hourly rate. And if you don't want to pay that, you can find somebody that does less, you know, that'll pay less than that. But as an experienced agent or a new agent, the commission's typically similar. It's not that, you know, people
They're not
aren't
a
picking
lot
us
different.
over. Yeah, they're not picking us on price.
Yeah.
You know, is how it is, so.
It really hurts your heart too, when you're in relationship with somebody. Recently, a year ago, I changed insurance agents. And the guy I was with at American Family, we had gotten to know each other through a networking group and really enjoyed each other's company and had, you know, different social activities outside of business. But it was just such a huge difference that I had to call him and say, you know, I know you're the messenger. I'm not shooting the messenger, but American Family has went up by 30%, which is super significant in my budget. And so please don't hate me, but I'm gonna have to, you know, shop around. And so I did and ended up going with somebody that saved me about 30%, which was, if that was only one piece of business, that wouldn't have been much, but I've got several pieces of business that I give an insurance person, and so that was a lot.
Did he
So,
understand you? Did he get mad and?
No,
stop?
we're still friends.
Yeah.
We're still friends.
Yeah,
Which,
it's his business.
you know, it's a little awkward to connect with him in my sphere. You know what I mean? Because I'm not doing business with him, but so I don't ask him for business.
so I got.
So that's a little awkward. You get
Yeah.
awkward sometimes with some of your relationships.
You're drawing a breath. You look
Yeah,
like.
So-
say something.
This was done to me years ago. And as you're talking about this, I'm thinking, he was prospecting me. And what had happened is they had decided to do a feature on a sports official in the area. And I got chose for that. And what he did is he cut it out of the news leader, put it in an envelope, some nice comments, and mailed it directly to me.
Mhm.
And that, you know, for somebody, I mean, you're very community involved. So I mean, just if a child does something
Mhm.
and you know the parents and you cut that out and send it to them, that could get you higher on the list as
Mhm.
far as who they choose.
That's so I actually, our representative at the time did that to us, state representative, when we had our ribbon cutting. He cut it out of the paper, laminated it
Yes.
and mailed it to us. And I thought it was real funny. This would have been in '05. I went to a sales training in St. Louis. And the guy talked about doing that, making things personal, paying attention to where people are. And this fits me because I'm not a big gift giver. You know, I hate the arbitrary gift, you know, just like, you know, if that makes sense, like I want something personalized to you, you know what I mean? Like I want, like when I had clients moving here from California in the middle of the school year, moving to Rogersville, I went and got their kids Rogersville gear. So they had some hoodies going in the first day. But he had a flooring store and the lady's daughter did something. He didn't know who she was. She just came in the store. And he said, never put a business card with it. Just say, hey, saw this and thought of you, and send it to him. And that one turned into the lady that got it was remodeling Washington University. And so he ended up with all that floor, you know what I mean? Like you just
Wow.
never know. Sometimes if you listen, so it's funny that I've heard, you know, but that would be a huge opportunity. Gotta get the physical paper. And I've got a friend that does that. He is not in sales. He is a pastor. But he does that. Sometimes he'll make the phone call. Hey, saw you in the Business Journal or whatever it is. You know, he always makes a big deal when he sees somebody in the paper. So that's same idea. It's about, he uses it because it's about the relationship. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'd kind of forgotten about
I still
that.
have that article today because he mailed it to me.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were an official then?
I was a sports official then.
Okay.
And he was a leading car dealership in this area.
Nice. Yeah.
The company's still going, but he's retired.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So the reason to,
Yeah.
on the insurance, how does the conversation go when you get a renewal for $11,000 for 12 months for 3 vehicles? And you've just done $1 million worth of business with this real estate agent.
It would be a different conversation and it would be a different outcome. Because if referrals are flowing both ways, then you can justify in your business model your insurance being a little more expensive.
When it went up from 6,000 to 11,000.
I mean, it-
11,000 for 3 vehicles for 3 months?
So what the guy,
In 2021, yeah.
what'd you do?
I called him and I said, and we're still great friends. And I said,
Cars were gonna cost you $3,666 a month?
A year.
a year.
Oh, a year.
Yeah,
I thought you
11,000.
said 3 months, 3 car,
No,
okay.
3 cars, $11,000. I paid annually for a 12-month policy, so they got a discount to 9,500 or whatever, but he told me to call Geico. And what they didn't know is my son had totaled his car that day. He totaled the car and I got the renewal. So anyway, but it really happened and I called
So
him.
he
I said,
told you to call
did.
Geico
He
for
said-
the whole family or just for the kid?
the whole family. We moved and yeah. And then I came back to the company. He sold the insurance company and now has a pool company, but you know.
Insurance is insane, that's all.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But but it is a conversation. And even if you were getting something, having that conversation, you know, and part of this started, the purpose of it is we know so many insurance agents, we know so many lenders that we can recommend.
Yeah.
And sometimes and part of it's having a good relationship with them because there are some lenders better for certain people than others.
Right.
We all have our preferred, and I'm big, I have some that will do business with me. That's kind of my thing. If they wouldn't do business with me, I'm probably not gonna do,
Right.
I'm probably not gonna do business with you. Like, that's okay.
How do you quantify that through how many referrals they gave you the last year?
No, I mean, I think you've just got, it's in the relationship. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
just-
about how many, like
Cause I don't quantify it that way, yeah.
I've got 2 lenders that are tops on my list that I send stuff to, and both of them have had me do CMAs on their house.
Yeah.
That's the relationship.
I think it's just a relationship for sure. I
Yeah.
had the
Yeah,
same thing.
for sure.
I went to a new insurance agent because I loved her posts. I loved what she was about. I went and met with her, had conversations with her. I used her. My insurance went up $2,000 for the year and I was like, that's okay. I'm gonna continue to use her. And then one day she recommended another real estate agent and I went, I'm out. On Facebook. I mean, I was like,
And I will.
and I recommended her all day long. She got calls all day long from people for me.
I will not recommend an insurance agent, lender, a roofer. I will not put it publicly on a post,
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Because I will private message and be like, hey, since I'm in the business, I know a lot of great people, but I just want you to know. And so it's because of sometimes those reasons where someone may go, there may be some, well, I'm not gonna recommend guys and so, because there may be a reason I'm referring somebody over.
Good sensitivity.
Yeah, just my personal. So all of this, as we look at lead follow-up, it's about finding ways to build that relationship and be able to, to create that trust. And that's how we end up becoming top of mind in their world. One of the fun conversations I have is, are Facebook friends real friends? And often I'm like, yeah, well, my friend was doing, and I'm like, they're not really a friend. I mean, they're a friend, but I know them, I've met them before maybe, but really the only time I talk to them or see anything about their life is on Facebook. Are they a friend? And so we start sharing those stories. So how do we get into a relationship with them? Now, there are ways to have online friendships like that. I don't want to say it never is, but there are things that we need to do that. So.
But I think that there's ways to have relationships with the people that you meet on Facebook that are authentic as well. Maybe you
Yes.
never come in contact with them in person and then I have 3 that
Yeah.
just because I met them someplace, stalked them on Facebook, friended them, they accepted it, and then you go in and like all their stuff and blah, 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 and we have conversations all the time.
Yeah.
And
But you-
they're
but
really
you
never,
create-
ours are never about real estate until they say something.
Yeah, but they became conversations,
Mhm.
not not
A sales
just-
call.
Not just friends out there.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes. So let's talk about ahas from what we've talked about so far. Have you guys does anyone know what an aha is? I know a couple of you. do.
Something you didn't know before or something that was reintroduced to you and you went, aha.
Yeah, that's part of it, but I've got another meaning of aha.
Awesome.
Yeah, this was a fun one for me. And since we're in a room and virtual world of agents helping agents.
Aha.
There you go. So how are you guys gonna help each other in class today? What's been your biggest takeaways? Or that section, I guess.
Well, my takeaway was the discussion we were talking about how to create more relationship, and I love the laminated article idea or checking it. And we've said it before, like if someone's grandma passed away, don't just say, I'm sorry. pick up the phone and call them and say, I'm so sorry your grandma passed away. Or, oh my gosh, you got the big job or whatever it is, instead of leaving it on Facebook, having that personal connection. But I also like, saw you in the news, or here's something printed.
My grandparents both passed away this fall.
Mhm.
Over 60, 45, 60 days. And they were critical in my life. They were, but how few people did that?
I didn't even know, because we're not friends anymore.
I didn't know that.
I lost my Facebook account. I think I texted you when I lost it, so it's new, and so you're probably like, that's a fake account.
Could be. So I'll
message you
try to
again.
fix that. But
But I didn't know until last month that happened.
Yeah, but anyways, I heard something even cooler than just a phone call though. And this would be, maybe wouldn't have been in our case necessarily, but how many times do something happen, they're like, hey, I hear your dog ran away. How can I help? Let me know if there's anything I can do to help.
Yeah.
Or, we do that and we put pressure on somebody in kind of a situation. They're like, there's nothing, that you can do right now, because we're trying to make them make a decision.
Right.
And they shared a story of somebody calling and it was just like, hey, are you gonna be home at 8 p.m. tonight? Yeah. Okay, great. Instacart's gonna show up at 8. I just want you to open the door and let them in. Instead of asking, what can
What
I
they
get you at the
need.
grocery store? And they sent them like junk food or whatever, it was easy, like pizzas and maybe some comfort food and whatever it was. It wasn't, it was just a way to say, hey, there's something you can.
Yeah.
And the other was, what's a restaurant you go to often? And then they sent them this isn't something as real estate, you're probably gonna do, it's probably more family, but they spent probably $25 each time they went there, sent them a gift card for like $250. So that while they were going through these struggles in life, they could just go and not have to think much about it. So it was neat putting them in place not to make a decision. So there's probably ways we can do that in different manners, but again, to create that personalized touch when somebody's going through something, good or bad, but yeah, not making them make a decision. Any other ahas? Just like your intention to be strategic with your lead generation, you want to make sure that we're strategic with our lead follow-up. Being thoughtful about how you follow up and leveraging the highest value touches that yield the greatest result will help you convert those leads. So you guys don't have the printed material. Do you guys have printed? I don't see it.
We have it on our
On the
computers.
computers, okay, so the fortunes on the follow-up page in the participant guide is kind of where we're headed, so. And your mind share is gained through positioning yourself in front of your leads frequently with relevant and timely information. And you want to open that door to that two-way conversation that we've been talking about. So we've been introduced to two different kind of systems so far through Ignite. Looked at 19 ways to connect and 36 ways to convert. What can you guys tell me about those two? Or can you define those? No?
Say it again, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where to be in the participant guide. What was your question?
19 ways to connect and 36
36
ways.
to convert. What are those systems? Can you define them? No? Okay, I don't know. Some of the notes made it seem like it's been talked about more in depth, so.
Is that where
I don't.
19 to connect, 4 touches, quarterly phone call, something like that?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, so which that may be what's there, so. So you're.
Oh, I see here.
Yeah, anyways, your 19 to connect, so your leads, the ones that you have not had conversations with, you're gonna do the 4 quarterly phone calls, the monthly touches, And then promotional direct mail from that side, something that may be annual. I can share with you what I do, and then, an annual event. So you're doing this 19 to connect to get to a high value touch that cements the relationship and then get them into 36 to convert. So this is your, if it's better, this is your Met database, the people that you have had a conversation with. These are leads that, maybe you only have contact information. It's been one-way conversation on that.
Whole thing in our notes. I just took a picture of it.
Okay.
I think it's. Well, it keeps going. It's not, we don't have it like that. We have it broken down.
Oh,
Okay.
it's 2 pages
Or
later.
actually, I don't even see the 36. I just see the
And it may not, we don't really get into the
19
30s.
and the 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe 36 is tomorrow.
okay.
I don't know.
So I think it is as we get to it. So your 19 Connect's got the four quarterly phone calls. The 12 monthly emails, newsletter, market report, could be a video. Your promotional, 2 additional touches, maybe promotional direct mail. And then an annual event is what they're putting together. So this is a prescriptive list of the events. It doesn't tell you how, it's not a prescriptive list, meaning you should make all these 4 phone calls this week and do it in order. You want to break these up and make sure they're timely, like the phone calls are gonna be best placed once a quarter, for example. When do you think a lead should be added to a 19 to Connect touch campaign?
As soon as you put it in command.
Soon as you have 2 pieces of contact information, right?
As soon as you can. I mean, I think, that's the best answer, where I would come from on that. When we talk about speed to lead and making sure we're getting this information and connecting with them as quick as possible. And it's important to think about what if the next, account or somebody they interact with is a real estate agent, for example, say on social media or something along those lines. So, and remember, you want to be the first agent they talk to. That's why the speed to lead is so important. Because remember, it's, we're talking 70 to 80% if they're buyer or seller are going to do business with the first agent that they talk to. And one of my goals when I talk to a lead is not this, and I think we get into it a little more, but I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the cement, as we get to getting there anyways, is I want to get in front of them. I want to meet them face to face as quick as I can. The sooner I get in front of them, the more likely it is that I'm going to be able to cement that relationship when it's time for them to do real estate or to transact in real estate. As you started in real estate and you begin to generate leads during a night, there are things to consider regarding your own lead follow-up plan. And so these things that we want to consider, and without me reading them, do you guys have this in your participation as well?
Yes.
Okay. I don't need to read a page to you. So we're gonna use the lead follow-up best practices page in the participant guide. And take about 10 minutes or so to anyways, we will use that. Hold on. Okay, so thinking about what we're gonna do in this, I don't feel that's real clear, but so when you're looking at your lead follow-up plan or as you're designing this, we want to look at some of these things. So what are your strengths when working with people? How can I adapt the touches of 19 to connect to represent me? Again, making it personal in the conversations that you have. Now we can't all do this, not that we can't all do the same things, I'm not saying it that way. But there are certain parts of our personality that are gonna be more beneficial. I will often send a ridiculous video on people's birthdays. You guys don't know this about me, but I am a terrible singer and would be on the outtakes of America's Got Talent or whatever. So I will use just iMessage video and sometimes for my cousin recently, I made it a pile of poo and on my face and I sang to him as a pile of poo and said something about, being a pile of poo in the song. I don't know. But again, it's ridiculous. It is not necessarily going to fit everyone's personality, but it's something that I can do and get away with, and anyone that I do that for absolutely loves it. Even had a couple of people shared on their own Facebook pages. I don't appreciate that, but I do, from those things. So when you look at what is that lead follow-up, what can you do to generate that conversation, with them? Now, I'm probably not doing that with leads, don't get me wrong, but if I had their birthday and I knew enough about them, I might, Again, ridiculous. I get it. Kind of a character, but that's just who I am. But you want to match your touch campaign with your strengths, and be prepared with the reasons why you're reaching out. And make sure every time like you said earlier, you didn't give a business card. Make sure every time you're talking with somebody that they know you're in real estate and how they can refer business to you is important. And having your lead follow-up time blocked, that's something we often forget. We'll time block for lead generation, whatever that may be, but the follow-up is not, we forget about it. We're like, it'll just happen, sometimes. And so I'm guilty about that myself. From that, what thoughts do you guys have on this information?
So those 19 we have the 36 touches, those 19 are more, or those 19 included in the 36 touches?
They're separate. So your 19 to connect would be more with just leads.
Okay.
And contacts, people that you've had conversations with, are ones that you're gonna have on your 36 touch.
Okay. Thanks.
That's where these directions I missed something along there. So what you really want to come out with here. So we're gonna give a little time to talk through this in a little more, because really they want you to have a chance to design your own 19 Connect plan, and that's the next step after this that I've discussed. So I don't feel we're there at all. So how are you, so let's take this. So the 4 quarterly phone calls, that's pretty big, that's easy, right? That you want to have prepared, know what you're gonna have a conversation with, but that could differ quarterly. It could be providing information about the market. You could be connecting on different topics, depending on the time of year that it is. It could be recommending they do something with their house. It could be letting them know about something that's coming up. You know, this is where knowing your community, maybe and where they're living. For example, in Ozark, if the first weekend in October, if you live around the Finley River Park, they have this craft.
You leave
Sorry.
town.
Sorry.
If you live around there, you leave town.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I said craft fair and then craft fair. That's there every year during that time. So that could be if you're calling that week before, hey, just remember that that's happening this weekend. Your 12 touches, whether it's monthly email newsletter, and email newsletter is the easy way to do it. You could make that more personalized with giving some market trends or something, depending on what you know about them, you may want to make that personalized instead of just your generic newsletter that goes to everybody from that side. So what are some other thoughts on those 12, what those 12 touches could be?
Well, those seem like the only thing that I could see doing consistently 12, once a month would be like a newsletter or some type of an email that offers some information. Because anything else might be a little weird if you did it that often.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, I think your best is to do something that's just almost on autopilot from that side. And then these two additional touches where you can get a little more creative. They could be, so I said I'd share one of the things that I've had the most success with. And again, it's about being personal. So my absolute favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. One, I told you I'm a Cowboys fan, so they play every Thanksgiving. You've got the 5 F's: food, football, family, faith, and friends that are all involved in Thanksgiving. So I write all of my past clients and Top Sphere a thank you card in the month of November and mail it to them. Sometimes I put a magnet in it, sometimes I don't. I've done both. I don't know the magnet. It's funny, the magnets are in I've seen them in a lender's office when I go visit them. I've seen them hanging in people's houses when I listed their house. But that's really personal to me. That's just something that, anyone can do that. But after Thanksgiving, everyone sends Christmas cards. I don't send Christmas cards.
That's what I was just gonna ask you, Skip, yeah.
No, I send a personalized, handwritten, most years. I did one year, I will tell you a fun mistake I made. So I got to the point, I was like, gosh, writing these is a lot. I'm just gonna send a generic one through. I can't remember what the company was that I was using. I was using a gift card company or a card company to send cards out. And send out cards, that's what it was. Anyways, and so I went in and I made one to send to everybody, put all their addresses in, set it up where it sent their name. And I went in and I made a correction to it. And when you went in and corrected it, somehow it had somebody's name at the top. And it wasn't the filler to insert the name. So all of my cards went out to Amy Hunsaker Williams on the card, and you open it up and it said Cassandra in Israel. Every single one of them said Cassandra in Israel. Do you know, I'm so embarrassed and I can feel you're crushed. Do you know how many people I heard from that were like, hey, I just wanted you to know I got Cassandra's email, Cassandra's and Israel's card instead. I hope everything's okay. You may want to let them know in case they got the wrong one. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
But it was effective.
It did. It did. It's kind of like wearing the name tag upside down to a networking event. Sometimes there are people who come and tell you, hey, name tag's upside down. So sorry, that happened this last week with someone else, but just So anyways, that's my thing, but I think that you can find what is yours. I know some people love the 4th of July and I've seen them do little packages on people's doorsteps of fireworks. It could be reverse trick or treating at Halloween, is another fun one. That you could do. I've tried to think of something to do around St. Patrick's Day because that's when my Lincoln was born. And so I used to joke and call it St. Lincoln's Day. That's what it's gonna be. So anyways. What are some other creative ideas you can think of?
Well, I love handwritten cards, because I think that people don't get them very often. So we've simplified it now. I think it was better when it was harder, because what I used to do is I would just pick people, like I'd see that it was someone's birthday on Facebook. And if I didn't have their address, I would track it down, however I had to do it. And it would be very unexpected for them to receive this card. And it usually had like, a Starbucks gift card or something like that. And I'd say, something about get a sweet treat.
Yeah.
But then to simplify it, now we have our admin do it. And she sends out more cards, but when you send out more cards, you can't do the gift card for everybody.
Yeah.
And so, I think people still like getting them, but I don't think it's quite as much of a personal touch.
Right.
So I kind of want to go back to the old way, because I just think it was more fun.
Right.
And then we do for Thanksgiving, we do pumpkin rolls, but I just give them to past clients who live in the area.
Right.
And so we actually hand deliver them and put them on their doorstep.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. So the one thing to consider is, and you hit it without me going there, but the one thing is but in some of these, part of it's balancing cost. You know what I mean? What can you do at a mass level to make the best touch, and get there, so. When it comes to that.
One of the things that I've been thinking about lately, we do a lot of events, but they do cost quite a bit of money to do. Could we instead capitalize on someone else's event by inviting people to join us at that event? So we're not having to put on the event, and we're able to have more one-to-one time with those people that we invite.
Yes, I think so I started, and it got canceled that year, which is unfortunate, but Ozark started a Oktoberfest in 21, our historic river district. And so I was a sponsor of that event, and my office is right off the square. So it's got parking. And so for me, I was like, you know what, I'm going to offer, invite, it's going to be a VIP event because I don't have tons of parking spaces. I had probably 10, but create a kind of true VIP event. Hey, come, to the office, then we'll walk down to Oktoberfest and watch, the band. I can't think who it was. Anyways, Chelsea was in it. Anyways, from that side, just to kind of piggyback off of those types of things to make sure people know. That's a good thought from that side. So.
And you have to calendar, you have to plan it, you have to calendar it out, you have to know what's coming and invite people and. Yeah. There's a way to probably do that and leverage that in all situations, especially if you're gonna already be at the event. I think in some ways that can be done. That's pretty neat. From that side. Making an impact where you're kind of getting your value proposition along there, or your and your personal communication. And that's what we've spent some time there, is kind of what your personality is when you get into that follow-up.
you want to balance out those aspects to ensure you get the most impact for that, whatever that is. So, yeah, there are times, and this is a challenge somewhat you deal with with the team. And so we talked about real estate's a personal business. So we're sending out, and I'm gonna pick on Amy, and I don't think she'll care too much, but they send out cards as a team. Now, if they're all signing them because the whole team appreciates them, what if, does it look different if it's coming from just the person they had the most interaction with on that team? Who do they remember the most? Type of a situation. Which one, how does that change that relationship, that impact? I don't know that answer, but that's just a thought process. And I take that, and decision should not be made on how Guy views things. But sometimes getting the card with 40, when it's from a company or whatever, and it's just signatures, it's printed and just signatures on it, may not have as much impact as if one person wrote a card and said, hey, thinking of you, thanks for your business. So when it comes to potential lead sources, there are so many potential lead sources, and I like to call it spokes on a wheel. And I get that from somebody that I've listened to, a podcast that I've listened to, but you got to be careful if you listen to it because they like to sell another brokerage. So, but they like to call it, 5. They want you to have minimum of 5 spokes on a wheel. And if you think about a wheel, the reason I like it is the visual of it. So an old time wheel, if you've got your business in the middle, you've got your spokes that come out this way. And, having that is important, having the multiple spokes, because if, let's say, this is your, you've got sphere of influence or whatever it is, and for some reason it's not generating any business, your wheel still works, right? But if you only have one spoke and you hit a rock, that spoke breaks and the whole business breaks, right? So finding opportunities in the different areas, and it could be, I know purchase leads are up there. So what happens if whatever you're purchasing the leads from, that system dries up some, or doesn't give as good a quality leads, or they get really expensive, which happens. Social media, the analytics change. So whenever, whenever you're working with this, when my tongue's not working now. When you're communicating, it doesn't matter what the lead source is. We want to try to get it towards a conversation about real estate. And some of these questions, why are you thinking about buying or selling, could be, always want to give not a yes, no question, make it an open-ended question, where, when if I'm talking to somebody, they've called on one of our listings and, it's in North Springfield. Are you wanting to be in North Springfield? Is that, what makes you want to be in that area? Finding out what their motivation is. And getting inside that, getting to help as you get to their motivation, you'll more likely cement that relationship and be able to get in front of them. After all, that's what we're trying to do when it comes to lead follow-up. Any ahas on that? So just, and kind of looking where, kind of when as I look at time, we've got the post, after you obtain that permission to get to a two-way conversation, they then at that point become a contact in your database. We're no longer calling them a lead in there. They may still be a lead, but they've moved to that contact stage. And you've achieved that purpose of the 19 to connect. And just connecting with them doesn't mean they're necessarily going to do business with you, or that relationship is as strong as it can be. But that's why you want to move that on over into the 36 touch campaign. And, you know, whether it's because everyone in your database should be in your, I guess I missed that. Everyone in your database should be in one of the two campaigns, as far as that's concerned. And so this is our, kind of the cycle of that. Get to to cementing the relationship. What do you think the purpose of the one cement touch is?
Did you say, what do we think the purpose is?
Yeah.
Well, it says that it's to solidify the relationship. High value touch. Established for future interactions. So this is for someone we're just meeting.
Could be just meeting or a lead that's in your database right now that you haven't.
Well, it's connection. A high
Connection.
value touch is one in which you actually make a connection with that person.
Right.
It takes you from an acquaintance to a relationship.
I think there's different relational categories of it, because it could be that you've had a relationship, you've been cultivating a relationship, but now through conversation, you know that person is going to think of you when they're out and about, and they hear a conversation about buying, selling, or investing in real estate. I mean, that's a down the road cementing,
Right.
right?
Right.
You know that person now has become an advocate
Right.
or a high level sphere,
Yep.
as you called it.
Yep.
So there's different levels of cementing.
What are some options? What are some ways to do that? One to see.
So you have the lead. And you know they're not in the market for buying or selling,
Mhm.
but you're in connection with them. And maybe they would have an interest in just knowing what the current value of their home is.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What about the conversation of you bought your house 5 years ago? Have you ever thought about getting into real estate investing? Could be a question to ask them that may make them realize that knowing the value of your home is more important than just when it's time to buy or sell, because you might be able to leverage the value of your home into buying an investment property from that side. If they're not wanting to kind of, I assume they still do it, but the EA group, Evan and Austin, they used to set a goal of 10 coffee appointments a week. So, and they did coffee appointments, and I loved it because they did coffee appointments because it's not as committal as like a lunch. It's not as expensive as a lunch. and you can get 2 a day in. So I always loved that. I've not really ever implemented it myself directly, but I do love the idea because I drink coffee in the morning and afternoon by myself, so I might as well drink with somebody else, right?
Right.
And it may be a way to get somebody to sit down and have a conversation. You could cement that relationship. I thought another idea they gave was offering one of our Keller ink books, whether it's, there's a first time home buyer book, it could be even the one thing. There are a lot of that knowledge, depending on the person, that could be really good to share with them as well. On that. Any other thoughts on what it would take to cement them? Or ahas from really our questions, are big ahas on what we've learned. As we kind of went through what lead follow-up is, how to lead follow-up, and post lead follow-up are the 3 big sections.
I think my big aha is just getting back to more personal one-to-one relationship. In the attempt to automate, I feel like I've lost some of that. And it's also what I enjoy. And so I think that if I got back to that, I'd also be happier in my day-to-day work.
I think that makes complete sense. I feel that and have gone through that from our growth to, I got into some more, I had Ylopo and Follow Up Boss and some different systems that I was using to do, some of them I absolutely loved. And one of them one of the add-ons was HomeBot. And it allowed you to create an electronic CMA for a house, basically, utilizing kind of like a Zestimate is, for lack of a better words. But it's one that I liked and realized when there were only the low, and part of it, the low in Ozark schools were 7 houses on the market one week. We have 73 houses on the market as of this morning.
Wow.
When COVID first started, we were running like 130. So to kind of give you, I love to laser in on part of it. I'm in Ozark, it's not like I do business other places, but that picture of Ozark is replicated in the Kickapoo School District and the Glendale, so it's replicated all over. We can look at that differently. But I think anytime you can take numbers and make them ultra small, we start to get it more than looking at, 1,500 listings. What does that mean? But so to talk about some of the things that I've done that were effective, I had all my past clients set up on the neighborhood search in Command. They gave them a biweekly, kind of what's going on in your neighborhood, which is great, except for when there's only 7 houses on the market. There's no houses on the market in those neighborhoods, so those emails are not going out. So that's the one thing that you have to think through. And so if you're counting that in as a touch, that the system's working, but there's nothing to send out, so it doesn't send it out. And so that's why I did love HomeBot, but I also watched where one of the things with that, it had all kinds of stuff that was reaching out to my clients and doing some of this. And I was like, some automated stuff. And I was like, wait a second, it's getting too far because it lost my personal touch. Yeah. I mean, I can also call it personal control, but I
Got away from who you are.
yeah, I try to be a very genuine person, no matter what I'm doing. That's just who I want to be. And that's okay if I don't get to do every real estate transaction out there. That's what I'll tell everybody, you know, whatever that is, I do want to stick somewhat to my core beliefs. I had a guy, come list me call for some land in Sparta. And while the guy was on the phone, he told me what he wanted for it. I'm like, I don't see the value there. I was like, we could go look at it, but I think he wanted 13,000 an acre or something like that. And I was like 9, you know, I mean, somebody else took it and it's under contract, you know, but they didn't get it as high as he wanted, but still it was above what I would have listed it for. So did I lose it? Maybe, but I told him, I was like, I don't want you frustrated with me. I'm not gonna just list it for you at that price because that's what you want. So it's just something that's important to me. So anyways. Anyone else? Good job. Chat room, that's the downside to me being in front.
I was thinking about something the other day. You said, to think about the questions that we're asking I think even when we're asking for referral business. I was thinking about how a lot of people will ask, do you know anybody that might buy, sell, or invest in real estate this year? And it's really easy for the brain just to go, no. But if you say, who do you know? Then the brain goes to a different place. You might get the same answer, but their brain went to a different place.
Right.
Their brain went to a Rolodex of people they know.
Yeah.
That they've heard talk about maybe buying or selling their home or whatever.
I like it. And that's causing, they'll continue to think on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. When you ask for referrals can also be a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, that can't be your number one go-to every time you
talk to them.
touch.
Yeah, but there's some people that get away with that and can pull it off, but
Yeah.
also if you made sure to ask, I've heard if I'm working with you, if we just, hey, Jeff, we're under contract, they just accepted your offer, you know, we'll get that inspection scheduled, you know, we'll start talking about that. I love working with you. And with it's just going on a contract, if you know anyone else that's thinking about buying, this would be, you know, so if I ask you, then you're excited, you love me.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
if I wait till closing, you know, they're stressed out.
Yeah.
That may not be the best time to ask for that in those types of situations.
Yeah.
Or you could look at it the same way, like if you just brought contribution to somebody's life outside of real estate, because obviously that's in the transaction, but if I've just, you know, helped you, whatever it is, if I'm asking at that point, it's gonna hit their heart differently than if it's just out of the blue I'm asking for it. So
I had a RV dealership for 18 years in Ozark, Courtesy Auto and RV.
okay.
And before I went into real estate, my wife was already in real estate, but we had an independent firm.
Okay.
And I think I lost my train of thought trying to give you a backstory. I hate it when I do that. You ever do that?
Daily.
What had you just said? Cause it spawned an idea.
Just asking for referrals, like when you've brought contribution to somebody. Or help them or so,
Well, I'll tell you another story.
Okay,
A guy, I won't mention names, but very influential person in Nixa. Haven't talked to him in years. He called me, actually he texted me, and he knew that I had an RV dealership. He has an ongoing relationship through civic activity in Nixa with my wife.
okay,
My wife's the past president of the school board.
okay,
And so, so he reached out to me to ask me where he might find a good used RV. I've been out of that business since '09, but he knew I was once in the business.
right,
And so I was able to tell him that if it were me, I would probably go on Marketplace. I would look for a 1 or 2 owner. I would look at the history of the RV
yeah,
in order to, and then he, then he texted me again and said, well, what should I pay for it? And I said, well, again, if it were me, I would use NADA RV Values or Kelly Blue Book. I just gave him a couple
Yeah.
ideas. I've added value to what he's looking for. We haven't had a relationship in a long time,
yeah,
but I went ahead and asked for, don't forget, I'm in real estate now. And who do you know? That's kind of my tagline.
Yeah.
Who do you know that would buy, sell, or invest in real estate this year? Love for you to keep me in mind.
yeah,
And he said, of course, he texted me back and said, oh, certainly. But he went right in my database now at a different level of relationship.
yeah,
Even though we haven't talked to each other in probably 10 years.
right,
But now we've got a connection and he's gonna go on to my at least 19
yeah,
touches.
yeah,
And I've already asked him for referrals because, that's the time when you're on the mountaintop in a
Yeah.
relationship, that's the time to ask.
absolutely.
Yeah, or when you've added value.
And I would say he probably goes more into a 36 touch. But
You
that's,
think yeah, maybe.
that's me, just 'cause I think you've got that relation, that's kind of just the thought process, so.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's your mindset now around follow-up?
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency. Be personal. What can I do to bring value?
Yeah.
Very good. And the one, when I look up here, I think I've talked a lot of some things that has worked for me. Effective and efficient. I think that's where when we look at it, the best thing to say, we didn't quite say it that way, but look at, there are certain things that are not going to be efficient, but are more it's kind of that, I can't think of the right word, but anyways, there are things that will be efficient and not as effective. There are things that are effective and not as efficient. And meaning where the monthly newsletter, the 12 touches, the emails, those are efficient and may not be as effective as a handwritten note or a phone call, which are efficient, or effective, but not as efficient.
I was just thinking about,
I
so
like
we were talking about when do we ask for the review?
Yeah.
And it's not always great at the end of the transaction.
Mhm.
I think a lot of us think that you have to wait to the end of the transaction because it's not done yet. How are they gonna know if
Yeah.
if, you know?
Yeah.
But it's so hard to get those reviews at the end of the transaction or even after it's over.
Yeah.
So it might be better to do it during the transaction, but also we don't always have to get reviews from people who did a transaction. So like this guy called you up and asked you for a favor, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Couldn't he repay the favor by
With
writing
a
you a
review.
review?
Yeah.
And I had
Yeah.
someone call me up today who needs their house, that, you know, a value on their house. They're a past client. They're
Yeah.
not planning to sell, but they need to know the value of their house for a legal proceeding. When I provide that, they'd almost be jerks not to give you a review if you did
Yeah.
them a favor,
Right,
and you did me a
right,
favor
right.
too.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the time to ask.
So how do you send and ask for reviews?
Well, that's a great question.
Okay. No, I mean,
I mean, to be honest with you, I've probably done it in the least personal way possible. I mean, we have an email
yeah,
that we've typed up and sent out, and here's our links, and it
so,
probably would be better if I called the person up and said, would you mind to do a review for me?
I'll meet you in the middle.
Okay.
So one of my most effective ways is texting them the link to the review. Hey, appreciate it. You know, and I think actually if I share it off of Google, it already says, hey, we value 5-star service.
Mhm.
Will you give me a review? Now,
When do you send it?
well, that's where I fail,
Mhm.
but, when I think about it.
Mhm.
Being real, you know, and there are times I'm better about it than others, but, you know, I ideally, that's part of where I got the idea to ask for referrals too, or where I heard it the first time,
Yeah.
you know, in the middle of the transaction. There are a lot of people that ask for the review right after you've gone under contract. Cause that is where nothing can go wrong at that point. You know what I mean? I shouldn't say,
Nothing has gone. wrong.
nothing has gone wrong at that point.
Yeah,
Get it in before that inspection.
yeah, yeah. Do you do the reviews off of and onto your website as well as Google?
I think mine are connected
Is
yeah, I think it's, you know.
there a link on our website through command?
I think you can create one where they can, but I think it pulls my Google reviews over. I don't send anything out to get reviews on my website. I only ask, Google's the place where you get the best analytics, you know, from your reviews. Although I should have a lot more, you know, my wife actually was at her office and I think I said it out, maybe I just said it to her this morning, but that she's starting to look for houses. So I'm gonna guess we'll be moving in the next year, but but she my website wasn't working off my Google page. And so when I saw it and like it just showed the number of reviews I had, and I was like, wow, I think it was only like 25 reviews. I was like, I really should have more than that. You know, from what we've done. So anyways, there's always an opportunity for that. But I do find it effective, especially if I've communicated with them by text, is to text them they can do it right on their phone.
Yeah.
So
What about a social media post? Do you ever ask?
I have, and I didn't ever get good results from it, but
Good results after they did it or good results in
number of
them?
people doing it. Yeah. I wonder now, so I used to do more social media posts on my business page. And really it's kind of, I use it more for if I'm gonna do ads, I post some things there, but the analytics just on business pages aren't great, right?
They are,
You know, right
yeah.
now. It's almost becoming like a website, you know, or our website and my business Facebook page, I look as more business cards out there for people to find that. But I do wonder if I did it on my personal page, I get a lot more, you would get a lot more interaction on my personal page if I posted it there.
Well, and I was thinking, I've never done it, but I was with a client that I closed on Friday. And we've closed, she's probably 4 or 5 in the last 6 years.
Okay.
She also cleans my house on a regular basis, and so we have a really good relationship. And I didn't really bring it up, it just kind of came up in the conversation. I can't even remember how it did, but I just took the opportunity to say, well, would you mind going on your Facebook page and, you know, saying that on Facebook, whatever it was she said. And she said, I'd love to do that. I didn't even think about doing that. Well, that's gonna be for all of her friends and all of her sphere. And I thought, man, that's the first time, but that shouldn't be the last time that I
Right.
look for that opportunity to say, hey, would you mind, you know, saying what you just said about me? Would you mind doing that on Facebook for the, you know, for my business? And she was just all over it. She was like, I'd love to do that for you.
I like it. I'm gonna tell you where my mind went with it, and you guys can rip off and duplicate this from me. But I think the path I want to take, so this is a limiting belief of mine, and part of it's just maybe even less limiting belief of mine. It's part of who I am. So there's parts, we do things that we're willing to do because they fit who we are. And I realize by some real estate standards, I'm an old man too, you know, but, you know, one thing that a lot of agents do is they post pictures at closings, and they, you know, they post the pictures of their clients and who just bought a house, and sometimes it's of them in front of the house, sometimes it's of the title company,
I've seen that a lot.
which is fine, you know, like, but I don't do it because, one, if I bought a new house, I buy a new car, I don't want
Want
the
everyone to
world
know.
to know that about me. You know what I mean? Until I'm ready to share it. There's a point I might share it. And I actually, when my wife and I bought our house, anyways, I didn't do it with our investment house, but the other one, we bought it. I did post a picture, a little tongue in cheek with her and I, like, I don't share other people's stories, but I'll share our story. This is my most difficult client ever. So if you ever think you're. Anyways,
I like it.
but to that point, for me to show it and get that information spread, like, hey, I'd like to, you know, let me take a picture with your phone. You should share this, and I'd love for you to tag me in it and tell people that I was great, but I don't want to share your story, you know, like type of a thing, because that's what, and that just fits because I'm willing, if they want to share it, I do it. And part of it, maybe I have some clients that wouldn't want that done either. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
they're probably not sharing it themselves.
You have to
So-
know each client, I think.
Yes. And so, but it also could be a limiting belief that some people may think is fun, but it's just not something that I do, you know?
Well, the way to find out is just to say,
Just offer.
do you mind if we take a picture that for social media?
Yeah.
And if and they'll say, and then, I mean, if not, no big
Yeah,
deal. And they'll
yeah.
say like, oh, we're not telling people yet, or.
Yeah, they will. I mean, it's very, and that's very true, but
And
I-
really, as fiduciaries who aren't supposed to be sharing people's information, we probably should be asking that question every time.
Every time. yeah.
and
not
really
just
it should
assuming that it's
be,
okay.
it should probably be, I'd be interested to see when it comes, you know, some sort of lawsuit where, you know, even if they.
I'm gonna go delete all my photos now.
No, I don't think it will, but I mean, you know, who knows? You get the wrong client.
Yeah.
We're not gonna probably have that client here, but you just never know. And I'm not one to, I don't know, that's just, that's a good point. I never thought about the fiduciary side of it either. But I do wonder if we should share it at all without when's it gonna come, you know, we need a written release, you know, on something more than I don't know. But and part of me, and this is where my limiting belief comes, if you were my agent and I was not in real estate and you asked me, you're like, oh, I really want to do this, I'd be like, eh. And I'd probably go along with it, but I wouldn't want it. Does that make sense? That's me, like, again, not everyone's guy.
You think you wouldn't say that you didn't wanna do it?
I probably
Hold
wouldn't.
back.
Like, in that situation, like, if somebody, they've tried to get me to take now, cause even if they, oh, actually, the last vehicle I purchased, they wanted to do it, and I'm like, no. And they're like, come on, just do it for us. So I was like, okay, and we did, now they didn't ever post it though, but I don't think they did anyways,
What
but,
they did it for?
well, I don't really
Somebody
remember, they may
must
have
have-
forgotten, they may have,
put you on the wall-
they may
the
have
wall of
forgotten,
fame.
yeah, I have asked.
In the
But they
lunchroom
also
or
might have
something.
gotten to thinking later, like, he didn't really want to.
Well, and they may have forgotten
Yeah.
about it, like it was kind of one of those things. So anyways, that's more about me and no one should take my personal opinion, you know what I mean? Like, we all have our,
Permission's a big deal though.
it is, I think I think asking the permission is important. I would have never thought about it, but
I just assumed that when I saw those on my feed that they had asked for permission. you know?
yeah. And I'm, but here's the deal, if I say, hey, I mean, in today's world, if I'm like, hey, here's a pretty backdrop, here's a sign, I just bought a house, let's take a picture. Probably should assume that picture is gonna end up somewhere. People don't take pictures, I mean, well, we all have more pictures now.
Yeah, I'm not just taking a picture for memories.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So, so we've gone through kind of the teaching stage. And each day we hope kind of in Ignite you grow, in how you think, feel, act, and implement what you've learned. And you guys don't have the handwritten stuff. Some of the stuff I'm like, man, I told you to write down. Taking time to reflect on what you've learned, and I think some of you including that, and how you can implement today's learning is important. So now we'll kind of look at your, as we look at the success system of Ignite. You got 20 minutes of role play conversations, 10 minutes preparing a call list for the day, 45 minutes of real play, 30 minutes of updating your database, and we're 35 minutes into all of that, so, because I talk long. But I was gonna do something that I thought was super powerful that I used to do, and I actually miss when because we do a lot of, do you guys do a lot of role play, individual or script practice? It's okay to say no.
No,
No.
everything's just kind of organic.
So I'm not real good with it either, or have been. But one thing I thought to bring that I loved when we were, when I was on the big team with Jason, when we had things rolling, we would get together and in a circle, similarly to like what we are. I don't know who's online. Still, I know Mary is. But whoever's there, that is not touchscreen, just so you guys know.
I know, I touch everything now, and I'm like, oh, you don't have a touch screen?
So it would be, so in today's market, what kind of objections do we have? What objections do we get out there when it comes to lead follow-up? Like if you were to, or it could be any objection, it doesn't have to be related to lead follow-up. I know that's what we're working on, but what kind of either objection to the real estate market, to meeting with you, to signing a buyer's agency agreement?
I feel like the three things that I still hear people saying is that they think prices are gonna go down,
Okay.
that interest rates are still too high, even though they have gone down a little.
Okay.
And that if I sell, I could probably do pretty well, but where am I gonna go? There's not enough houses listed.
Okay. Okay, so. One, just something fun that I sat down with a lender not too long ago. We were talking about the rate changes. Between November and December, buyers gained $50,000 in buying power because of the rate changes. Even though they haven't come down much, to your point.
That's major.
$50,000 on a $200,000 loan, basically the payment same as on a $250,000. That was powerful to me.
From November till now.
So that was just kind of
Well, it's been like a full point, right?
or
In that
point and a
length of time.
half, like,
Yeah.
and their rates may be a little. And this was their advertised rate, you know, so.
Mhm.
But again, that's all relative. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take, prices are going to go down.
Okay.
Okay, that's the game we're gonna play to, you know, to begin. And we're going to, I can't think of enough questions with it myself, so I'm kind of scared to do this, but. So the idea is we're gonna go around the room. You guys are gonna have stand up because we'll have a little bit of energy. And we're gonna go and ask an open-ended question. We're just gonna go one-to-one. We're all gonna just stand here. What's an open-ended question you could get to find more information on that? Like to continue the conversation or to overcome that, because I call objection handling, overcoming objection handling or overcoming an objection is really just continuing the conversation. You don't want to hear no, you know what I mean? You don't want it to be, the answer doesn't need to be no. So what type of question could we ask if someone says rates are gonna come down? Or prices are gonna come down? So what kind of,
Well, you could say, that's interesting. Where are you concluding that from? I'm just interested in knowing your source.
yes, very good.
What's important about prices coming, what about prices coming down is important to you?
I like it. Now you're on the spot. Now you're on the spot.
If prices come down, then values are coming down. Is that something that would be a concern of yours?
Okay, very good. I gotta go, right? I said I was playing along, didn't I? When you buy today and fix your payment, if value changes some going forward, how is that going to impact your life?
Oh, yeah. Well, what if they don't? What if they go up?
Right, I like it.
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
And it was, so really, we would do it somewhat, so we could continue to go around the room. So that'd be your shot.
I like yours. So to continue the conversation, prices are going up or prices are coming down? Is that what we were doing? I kinda lost my-
Yeah, I think, I don't wanna buy now because prices are coming down.
Is that something that concerns you?
I'm gonna play off of Destiny's a little bit, but I'm gonna change it up a little.
And that's, I think that the more we play on these, it's fine to,
Own in.
yeah.
Yeah. So you have a home to sell as well. If the prices are coming down and your home value goes down, what changes?
You can buy in the low market and sell in the low market, or sell in a high market and buy in a high market. There's no buy low, buy low, sell high. So very good.
Okay.
Had a thought.
We're probably used to giving answers
Totally.
We are, but if,
instead of
Uh-huh.
asking the
Asking
question.
questions, yeah.
but if we, yes, we are, and that's where I'm struggling, like, I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
ways to answer my question. But if great leaders ask great questions.
It's true.
So
It's
if we are
true.
better at asking questions in those situations, we will be better real estate agents. That's what we need to, if we switch it towards when we're following up.
We'll also bring more value when we do answer the question, because we'll have more information about them
Yeah.
and what's
Yeah.
important to them in their
Yes.
situation, instead of just assuming that we know.
Yes.
Or maybe, okay, go ahead. I got another question, but I don't want to take your time. Go.
You're fine. Let's see, so if we can find the property that meets all your needs right now, are you willing to take the risk that the price on that property is gonna drop?
I like that answer really well. I just realized that I need to do something. I was gonna shut off the recording, but she told me to. So if rates come down, that will increase demand. Do you believe that that will continue? And I really want to be an open-ended question. How do you think that is going to impact pricing?
Is that true concerning new construction, 5-year-old homes, 10-year-old homes, or 20-year-old homes?
Very good. That brings up something that was very powerful to me. This last year was the bottom 2 years nationwide of existing home sales, but was a top 3 year for new construction.
Yeah.
So just something that kind of where the market's going. This one's kind of painful in a way, but something like this can see how, I hope you can kind of see why I kind of enjoy it, because you start to play on, sometimes we would do it on, you need to do it on questions to ask and with a sign call, somebody calls in, what questions could you ask for what they're looking for? How could you do that? Just to have that information, to be able to kind of get as much information as you can as possible out of them is important. So.
Yeah. I kind of like this exercise better than I do following scripts.
Because part of me thinks I have scripts and things that I say, but it's in response to something. When I hear something, I'm like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Here, and we all have those, whether it's, and a lot of times talk about it, how's your day today? Or, hey, guy, how you doing? And I will say I'm living the dream. You say hi to me, I will end up saying that to you. And then I'll probably tell you that nightmares are dreams too. We just have to wake up. So either way, So is there something else you want to go through in this? Like,
Interest rates are too high. Kind of goes along with what we just did though, so
Does.
probably,
It's a lot of the same questions, it's just
Yeah.
changing the.
yeah, just changing. the-
interest rates may be kind of high. Have you talked to a lender?
Yeah, that's the easy one.
And I am one, and this is again, something that I do, and I tell lenders, I tell lenders this because I love lenders that try and call or say to me, oh, we've got the best rates in town. Okay, I'm not rate shopping for my clients. I am absolutely not involved in, if my client wants to rate shop, they can rate shop. And I'll give them some options and lenders to talk to. But I am absolutely not, I'm not an agent out here looking for the lowest rates out there. That's not my, because each person is so different.
Right.
I feel like that if I'm like, oh, they've got the best rates, you should call them. I feel like
Right.
I'm liable then at that point.
Oh, you are, yeah.
So I stay as far out of that as possible.
Yeah.
Same with inspection companies or whatever else. They're like, how much are they? I really don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get into it. I mean, I know I see invoices, I get them, but that's not my,
Yeah.
because I know some of them, it depends on what you pay for. You know, I know there's at least one guy that has different levels of inspections. I don't know what you're gonna need or what you're gonna want.
Yeah.
So, getting me, that's not, that also may be me doing that.
Just trying to think, when you're talking to a for sale by owner, what are the top objections?
Oh, I don't talk to for sale by owners.
You don't even organically when you run into them? Through relationship?
Who am I running? You're saying that my friends are gonna do their house for sale by owner? Just kidding.
I'd say there's some people in your database that you're gonna have that conversation
For
with.
sure.
You know what I tell them? Great. If it works, I understand and it is great for you. If it doesn't work though, that's where you've got to be concerned.
Right.
That's what I tell them.
Yeah.
But their number one objection, I mean, for them, it's almost always commission,
Always commission.
always. And the sad part is there's so many other things they may need to be looking at
Yeah.
that they're not.
So a good question you could ask is, assuming your house doesn't sell right away, how long are you willing to let your house sit on the market before you're willing to get it in front of some other eyes?
That's a good question.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Really.
Because that's really the only, I mean, if their main thing is commission,
Right.
the alternative is, the only negative alternative to paying commission is you don't sell at all. So how long are you willing to wait?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is time is money, so how long are they willing to take their own time to field phone calls, show property,
Yeah.
Right.
on their own?
Yeah.
Before there's gotta be a give point.
Yeah, there is.
But I also think a lot of them don't even get, doesn't become a concern because they're not getting the calls. So another question is, great, how many calls have you got?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah,
many people have come to see it?
Yeah.
yeah.
How many of those have been other real estate agents? Because that's really what there's a lot of calls they get on that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to be aware of, and I would not have been as aware had, why are they selling?
Mhm.
Is it an investment property? Like we've got Anna that works with us, she's selling her house and she's actually buying a for sale by owner. And it was like a flip or whatever, of some sort. So again, I don't know the whole situation on that side, but they're buying it. But as someone that's been working on a flip and where you talk about where interest rates are, so we're talking about 9.5% on a construction flip.
Yep.
So for $180,000 loan, you're talking about almost $1,800 just in holding cost. So, you know, when you've got somebody that's in that type of situation, possibly as an investment property that are selling, they may be drowning in interest payments. You know, how long are you gonna be able to continue to make payments on this? And do that. So, anyways, this is to me, this is probably something we'll do. It's just a way that, you know, we can think of some better objections, or as you guys think of something that you come across that we need to brainstorm, you know, like I said, it can be on buyers not wanting to make an offer, can be specific, it can be on the sign calls, you know, or how to get in front of a for sale by owner. So there are a lot of those that, you know, that can matter. Or we could be very specific on follow-up, you know, how do you get somebody on the phone? How do you get them you know, how do you get to meet them, you know, in their, what does that conversation look like, from getting them to take action, you know, if they're saying they don't want to buy for 6 months, what should they be doing today if they want to buy in 6 months? So a way I cement that relationship and lead follow-up, I work to get them with a lender at that point. It's not really important for us to talk right now, but I would have that conversation with the lender today. Go ahead and get pre-approved in case there's anything you want to work on, you know, to make your buying experience better. I'm like, oh, it's brilliant. And then all of a sudden, because if they can get into my database and then into a lender that knows, likes, and trusts me, now all of a sudden, they're probably not going anywhere else.
Yeah,
Probably.
probably.
So. And that's okay. Right. How are you guys doing with like the 10 conversations a day, contacts added, handwritten notes?
Not doing well in handwritten notes. I mean, I am because Bree's sending them, but I'm not. But she's just sending our normal birthday things. I'm not sending anything extra.
Gotcha.
I like to do copy dates also,
Mhm.
so I'm working on that. You asked what like problems we'd had, obstacles we had last week.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I haven't had, January was pretty slow, so I have no obstacles, but February is getting ready to be crazy, and not because of work, but just because of
Life.
things on my schedule. And I need to make sure that I can still have my coffee dates.
Yeah.
And-
Well, those are important.
Yeah,
But if you, and that's the thing, that's the beauty of time blocking. And we typically get the things done that are important to us. You know, if they're really important to us, we'll get them done. Typically, that's my experience. So how I don't know how this. I know this class is scheduled till 4, but as we. How has this gone every day in the afternoon like this? Is this typical?
no, I mean, some days people stay, there's a few people missing that have been here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it just depends on everybody's schedule.
Yeah, it all varies.
Like, I've got to leave at 3:15 because I've got a final walkthrough,
Yeah,
but,
that's fine.
it's just kind of, yeah, every day's been a little different.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
And I missed like the first 3 days when you were
Mhm.
teaching, because I was in St. Louis for the state
Yeah.
stuff. So.
So I mean, yeah, getting them done. It's funny how many of these really fall into, you know, the lead follow-up, especially depending on where we're at. And whether it's our conversations or our database, the getting 10 new contacts added to your database can be one of the bigger challenges. So Now, do you guys do a lot of online lead generation? Like, do you do Facebook ads or anything?
Maria does some, honestly, a lot of her social media leads happen organically through Instagram. But of course, people are actively looking for a bilingual realtor, so
Right.
that's a little different. I use Facebook more just to stay top of mind. I don't use it to get leads necessarily, although I would say that for the most part, that's where all of my sphere leads come from, is that they're seeing social media and being reminded. But I use it more like marketing than prospecting.
Yes, I agree with that, from that side. That's one of the things that I'm not systematic with it, with my social media. And that's one thing that I'm learning, that I struggle with, like, I can go 2-3 days and not really be on it. And
Yeah.
not do it, or not post anything, and then.
Well, we have, our assistant does it now, because that's exactly how I was not at all consistent.
Yeah. That makes sense completely. So when it comes to your daily lead generation time, how do you prepare for it?
So,
You don't?
it's my problem. It's my whole problem. Like right now, I have a list of 4 people that I want to reach out to for coffee dates.
Uh-huh.
And I have a list of 3 people that I am inviting to a group that I'm starting.
Okay.
And then I'm going to get on Facebook and I'm going to do what's it called? The 10-5-1.
Yes.
I'm gonna like 10 posts, I'm gonna comment on 5, and I'm gonna send a message to somebody. And that's all I got for this day. Which is enough, because I've only got 17 minutes to do it in, so.
All right. Well, you guys do your thing then
Okay.
on that. Hey, sorry, I'm teaching a class at Keller Williams this afternoon, so it's a different day for me. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Right, that's the numbers I always thought and was why I thought when Greg got rid of the expo. But I know everyone thinks that that's a Rachel thing, but that was Greg before her, so. Yeah.
Like the neighborhood meeting tonight.
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned it. I don't know why I don't have it on my calendar.
Okay.
I do now.
I was going to, but my sister just texted me and said, what you doing tonight? So I guess I'll see what she's got going
Yeah.
on before I
What do
make
you
that
have in
decision.
mind?
But,
Oh. Do I want to go to Clover for a basketball game?
Too clever for a basketball game. Sounds like she wants someone to ride with.
But I also kind of want to try.
She is going. She just doesn't want to sit around by herself.
Having to be every week, so. Yeah, I want to shorten it, so yeah, sounds good. Okay, bye.
I also had on my calendar, I think our community development group was going to meet this Friday. Do you know if that's still the plan after the changes? No, you're good.
Yes, I have it for Friday still. At 9. I think I haven't heard that it's changing.
Okay. I'm gonna go to Mizzou with Mason, so I'm not gonna be there.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm going to jury that afternoon.
Okay.
Is he gonna go to Mizzou?
We're gonna look at Mizzou and we're gonna go through MSU, so he'll be one or the other. I expect he'll stay here in town though.
And I kind of wanted to push Jackson towards like, go and do something, like go somewhere else, and he just didn't want to. Well, I think like at the bigger school, like he's not gonna be able to wrestle at Mizzou, like they're taking the top of the top. So then the only other schools out of town that he could have wrestled at, he just felt like they didn't have as much to offer to make it worth him going away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, oh shit.
Uh-oh.
I had a phone call today at 12:15 and I forgot to make it. All right, I'm gonna have to leave. I've got 2 phone calls I gotta make on the way to this thing. This is what happens. This is why I don't lead generate. Okay, thank you, Guy.
You're welcome.
I'll be here tomorrow unless a chimney service repairman calls me at just the wrong time. I've got a house I've gotta sell and and the only way to sell it is to fix this chimney.
Uh-oh. hope I didn't scare anyone away.
I don't think so. No, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Well, oh, I think Mary's gone too.
Yeah.
I gotta see that.
Right. Well, see you tomorrow. Thank you.
See ya.